monthly meeting with the Board of Commissioners for the Sanitary District. It's 5:30 and we're starting the meeting, and this is being recorded. I'll call the meeting to order, and then I guess, Jerry, you want to administer, or how you want to do it? You want me to raise my right hand?
Yeah, you raise your hand. I'll read it to you and you repeat after me. Or do you just want to read it? I had them repeat it after me because I have three of them.
Oath of office. I, John Prather, having been elected to the office of Director of Netarts-Oceanside Sanitary District, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Oregon, the laws thereof, and the policies of the Netarts-Oceanside Sanitary District, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Director according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Yep. Well, thank you.
You're in.
No, I wasn't here, but I'm glad to be back. So we'll get that signed. Or let me just. And 30. Right. Approval of the agenda, which is the board action item. You have a motion to approve the agenda.
I shall move.
Second,
I'll second.
any questions or discussion?
Oh, I wanted to revisit just briefly the low income fund and what we're doing to publicize it. And I don't know, maybe I should just do that during the board questions.
Why don't we cover that? Yeah,
Okay,
a little bit later.
that's fine.
I might add that I think, has everybody seen the old harmless agreement now that came out this afternoon? So we'll discuss that under item A under old business when we get to that.
Okay.
The next item is the election of board officers.
Are we gonna all say aye on approving the agenda?
Yeah, and you're right. All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Election of board officers. I guess we're making this just a tad more formal, which is appropriate. I've been starting with board chairperson. I've been it for, I guess, a couple of years. If somebody else wants to be the board chairperson, I will be happy to step aside and help that person out wherever I can. Alternatively, I'm willing to serve another year. So as far as discussion of that item, is there anybody? And I mean, I know some people want to hold on to positions. I think we ought to just share things here. I mean, as far as the duties and responsibilities, and not just have one person always be the person and demand that everybody else follow them. So any discussion or comments?
I think we can do that without worrying about titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I nominate John Prather.
And I second.
Really?
All in
Craig didn't
favor?
tell me that.
All in favor? We just voted you president, so.
Okay. So I got
Chairman.
voted.
Chairman, dictator.
Okay.
Large.
Now we get to the important positions. Treasurer.
I took it because it was my turn and I hadn't really done it. I had no special expertise, but I'm willing to do it because I've only done it for like a month. And I think like I have to, it's all in favor.
Say aye.
Aye.
It's only fair. I've avoided things for the first year or so. So this is still my penance.
Okay, secretary.
What does the secretary do?
Secretary can sign
Sign
off on
things.
things, but really there's not too much in the way of actual responsibilities. It mainly polls,
material, signing stuff.
signing stuff.
And usually they do an executive session, take them in.
That's
That
There's
makes
not
sense.
generally any-
What happens to the minutes in executive session?
We have a file that they go into.
Okay,
They're not published.
I would be willing to be secretary if nobody else wants to do it.
So moved. Second that. All in favor? Aye. See, we're sharing here. I was running the election while you were writing down.
Yeah.
okay. We have no guests. No real public comments. Then board questions, comments, and discussion. Did you want to?
Sure. I was looking through the budget and saw that we have the fund and there's $6,000 in it. I remember that you spoke to the people who manage the billing website, and for whatever reason that I'm not sure I completely understand, it was too complicated for them to add a line and hook it up to
Expensive.
expensive.
Yeah, it was the cost.
What's the cost?
It was a lot more than what we would have in there
Yeah,
to pay for it.
yeah. So since that strikes me as the most obvious way to publicize it, because I don't know, but I suspect most people pay online. Is that true?
We do have a lot, and we put on the front cover, a low income where we accept donations, where we also have the application and everything. So it's on the front
Cover
page,
of
our
the,
website.
of the website. Is there a way that we could have that a similar message on the billing website, not hooked up to anything, but just words that people see?
Doesn't everybody get a card?
Yes.
And it's on the card as well, so they get a physical copy. Even if they pay online, they get a physical copy, which talks about the,
I don't think I get a.
Not
paper bill.
everybody gets the
You can get it
postcard.
through
if
your
they're on-
email, but it looks the
if they're
same.
on e-bill.
Yeah,
But it looks the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks identical to our paper billing.
But I don't have an objection. Point of purchase, you know, they see it. Oh, okay. And while they're making the check, they add something for the program.
Right.
I guess that's okay, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's,
check
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
one.
I think that's a logical place to do it and an effective place to do it.
And if the online site said, anybody wanting to make a donation, send it to XYZ, then we don't have to worry about.
Is that on there?
it is on our website, which you go to
No, I
that.
was thinking of the billing website, the place where because people don't necessarily go to our website regularly.
Well, you go to our website and then you click pay online, which takes you to the,
And
but
you
I can
just
add
bookmark
verbiage
the
on
billing
here.
website, and then you go straight to the billing website because
Well, they have to go through that to get to the billing website.
But I can
There's-
add
Yeah,
verbiage.
okay.
So
There's no way for them to pay it. Their billing.
No,
Right.
So
Yeah.
somebody, that we have to.
no,
accept
no, I'm
that
just looking for ways
to
to,
advertise.
So that
the
bit-
website, what,
it has just an announcement and then it says login, or I can put something on there.
Mhm.
When you go to our main website, you would see it on there and then you can click pay online, and then it would take you to a login, which I could just say, all I can say is something in red. It wouldn't be flashy or pictures or
it
anything,
doesn't
but I can add it
need
there
to be,
too.
I think I'm most worried about people maybe on a fixed income and who are terribly responsible and always pay their bills, but we don't know that they're in trouble. So I want them to think, oh, there is a low income assistance. Maybe I should ask about it,
Right.
Um,
And it's only supported by donation
right.
with budget.
Yeah. And if we ask for a donation to it, that alerts people to the existence of it. And, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
No,
Oh,
no,
that's
it's
fine. I
good.
can
I
add
mean,
it to that page too.
It's tough to identify the people that are actually in need because they don't want to tell you they're in need either,
Mhm.
probably, in a lot of cases.
Mhm.
And did I talk about the history of this before?
Yeah.
Briefly,
With the
yeah.
the new big bond issue and stuff.
yeah.
Particularly in Netarts, there's half a dozen or so
Mhm.
single wides, in
Mhm.
the 50s
Mhm.
that were falling apart, and
Mhm.
I knew that the boost was gonna be
Mhm.
a problem, but we haven't had that people use it.
I noticed that right
That's
now,
right, yeah.
nobody's used it.
In one hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So your concerns are real.
Yeah.
So I think it's just as important, to make sure that people can donate.
Mhm.
Or know that
Mhm.
it's available to donate as well
Mhm.
as give it away.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
So if you want to run wording by me or something, I'd be happy to look at it.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Review of the minutes of 20 July. Motion to accept the minutes of 20 July.
I so move.
Second,
The only question I had was on page 5.
is there a second?
Oh, I second.
Gary did.
I said second.
I'm sorry, discussion. Go
Okay. On page 5, under correspondences, second to last line, it says the board wants to reassure you that this is not setting a precedent. Who is the you? There.
Yeah. That looked like you were writing it to the people that we were talking to, granting it. Really, it's just the board just made it clear that. Let's see, my kind of wording.
Wants to make it clear that we're not setting a precedent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The board emphasized this is not a precedent for protecting Jews.
It's the only thing that jumped out at me.
I saw it too.
Any other discussion? All in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
And I was not in attendance, so. The next item is the June 22nd special emergency board of directors meeting minutes, which was very short, and it was the second reading of the ordinance 2301 to establish the sanitary sewer fee increase and thereby declaring an emergency. Motion to accept these minutes, or the brief.
Only the people that
Yeah.
were at that meeting can vote.
I'll move that we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
The minutes reflect my memory of the meeting.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Financial statements. As of July 31st. Motion to accept the financial statement.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Anything you want to point out, John?
Yes.
I thought so.
Page 1, under personnel services, at towards the bottom. We will most likely exceed 3 to 4 of those line items. We didn't budget enough to cover. So one of the worst ones will be the public employees retirement. That'll probably come up about $35,000 short before the end of the fiscal year. Workers' compensation, the same thing. Payroll tax, the same thing, but not near as bad.
Yeah,
Just
but the only one that's 35,000 is public employees retirement.
Yeah.
And you say the same thing, there is a shortfall, but it's proportionally smaller than 35,000.
Yeah, so I'm still working on the calculations, but starting probably in March, the public employees retirement will start to go red. It'll go over. When I was given the budget numbers, 2 employees were completely left out of the budget, which follows suit with the other line items under personnel. So even though those go red, even though those go negative, as long as we don't exceed the bottom number, the total number at the bottom.
How much do we have? Will we be able to cover that?
I'm thinking we can get all the way to June, sometime in June, and we might come up a couple of thousand short for the entire budget under this line, under this category.
And then, I'm dealing with this at the fire department. Do we have a plan? Do we have an emergency fund that we can do a supplemental budget from?
Well, we have the ability to transfer between funds.
Right.
So we can transfer out of our capital resource into our general fund. We just can't direct it directly into.
I just said with us, we also have an emergency equipment fund, but we have
Right.
to do a supplemental budget on that to change that to cover other expenditures through to the Secretary of State's office. I just didn't know if we need to make that, maybe put that on the May agenda to do a supplemental budget.
Well, right now, I don't have enough information. This is this is into July. So now I have the actual true numbers. I found out about it into June when there was another problem. Our liability insurance for this fiscal year was paid out of last fiscal year. So that one went over budget. This one won't have but $70 some out of it for the year. So I know we can go over lines. We just can't go over the total. So at this point, I'm not sure we're gonna go over the total.
But in hard money, in the capital fund that we have hard money in there that would cover. it
Yes,
If we
yes.
needed to transfer.
General fund will not go over per se, so it's not gonna run over in the checkbook. It's just the
No,
budget.
Ours is going to run over the checkbook.
Ours will
And
not run
so
over.
that's why I was asking, because we're in a situation where
And I'm
the
gonna
Secretary of State has told us to find a loan.
I'm gonna ask the auditor, because you can borrow money from yourself. We already have in there to transfer funds, but the total general fund will not go negative. Okay, so that's the good news. The bad news is I gotta ask the auditor what the law is if you exceed a category, the total at the bottom. I know we've gone over lines before in categories. That's okay, as long as you don't go over the total budgeted for that category. That's where we have to really watch it, and it's not gonna show up till June, may not even show up till July 1 at the end of June, whether we came in under.
So you have time to confirm whatever procedures.
Yes, I would like to talk to the, because we're getting ready to go through our audit. So those are questions I have down to ask the auditor. I just want the board aware now that I just discovered the budgeting numbers were that far off. So.
I'm just glad we have money to cover it.
Yeah, it's not a matter of cash, so we don't have to go out to the bank and borrow money. Okay, so there's plenty of money in the general fund. I just want the board aware, as you go, you will see this probably starting March. The first one you're gonna see is the retirement PERS, and then payroll taxes. Everything is affected when you don't calculation pay increases or addition of employees.
I think we need to say on the record that you are aware and the board is aware of the reasons for this, and the reasons are not being placed on the record because they may be privileged. But that they have been discussed in executive session. So that there's not this big gap in our record about nobody's reacting to the fact that this happened. We're aware of why. And steps have been taken to fix it.
And I also, if you look on page 6, you'll see the negative $50,000 for the disbursements for the bonds. Since a lot of you, this is your first year here, I just want to let you know that is normal. The other funds carry it until we start receiving the tax income checks from the from the county.
That's,
Do you get the majority in November, your taxes?
I was gonna say, is it November or December? Somewhere.
Well, we usually start in July, August, we start getting checks. Sometimes this doesn't go red because we do get them in, but we just haven't got enough in to cover it. So the other funds carry it.
And this is the stuff that's billed with property taxes.
Yes.
Yeah, because people have the option to pay.
Because they, if I remember right, on the car property tax, if you pay it all in November, you get a discount.
Right.
Yeah,
So we tend to get a lot of ours in November because people want the discounts.
When we did the incorporation budget.
Yeah.
About 90% plus came in November.
Yeah.
People took the discount, and only 10% came in the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So if you want to track this so that you know where we're at, go to page 8 and you'll see that the general fund at the top is quite healthy. So anything that we exceed, unless we have some catastrophic failures or, unplanned for expenses, we're not going to go over what we have to go out and buy. This is going to be more of an auditing issue than anything else.
That's why we pay them the big bucks, right?
That's why we pay. So if you want to track the health, the financial health, always go to page 8, and that gives you the totals of each fund. And where they currently sit at the end of the month prior.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
okay.
I had one trivial question, which is,
No questions.
on the hookups on page 3. We're no longer in the 2020, 22, 23, we're in the 23, 24, is that correct?
Yes.
It's starting in July.
So the 3 that are listed up there, if that's 3 in July, that would be the first 3 in 23, 24.
Yeah, just go down to the bottom of the 22, 23 at 18.5.
Right.
I think it is, which is the rollover of what we had been tracking up till now.
Right. But there should there be a 23, 24 with 3 so far? Am I understanding that right?
Yes.
There should be, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that's the column of historic.
Yeah, okay,
That's not
okay.
historic.
Okay. I'm done with that. I was just trying to make sure I understood where everything was fitting together.
Then where all those people buy their lots in Cougar Ridge and start building, this will just explode.
Yeah.
Right?
We have others going on besides Cougar Ridge, that this is still going to continue to go on.
The vote.
Vote to accept it.
All in favor of accepting the financial statement, say aye.
I
Board audit now. For review.
Is there anything we should pay attention to here?
I don't have anything to point out, other than if you want to look at what I was talking about. The Safe Corporation check, what is that, 18738? for the workers' comp. You'll see that it's 79.58. That is the only thing that's gonna come out of that line item this year.
Yeah. Mhm.
So when you see 99% left at the end of the budget year, that is why.
Yeah.
I'll move to accept it.
I'll second.
District report.
With the vote.
Excuse me?
No,
No,
Oh,
sorry,
not
not a board action.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
But we're glad you accepted.
okay, so some things changed after I wrote this district report. So, we're still waiting for Kinswell to set up a date with us on when he's gonna come out so we can do the training and both crews on suction system inspection and cleaning. Capes, one pump station, I've made the board aware that it has that leak in the pipe. And I received an estimate. I told you last month, I wanted to get an estimate from Emery and Sons. So the estimate, and this is just an estimate, our best estimate for what we think, what damage needs to be fixed. So the total cost, we estimate now is $38,955. Most of that is labor and equipment. We're looking at probably around $6,000 or $7,000 for pipe, for material, pipe. Right now, we have in this estimate, we put in to replace one elbow and two spools. If we don't have to, of course, this will drop. There will always be an unknown. We're probably gonna have to cut and remove some of the concrete parking area if we have to get closer to the valve vault. But we're not gonna know that for sure until we actually, Emery gets in there and has to remove all the bracing to remove the rusted out pipe. At that point, we'll get a better inspection of where we're at. So this should be an extreme top end unless there's something that they dig up that we were completely unaware of or that doesn't match the drawings. But this should be pretty close. I expect it to come under this a little bit, not by much because most of these are hard numbers. The hours could change a little bit on labor, but the equipment and the mob and demob is going to pretty much stay the same. He's budgeted in here for 2 days of work, a day to mob, day to demob, clean up everything, reinstate the surface. But most of that is hard equipment costs and labor costs.
And steel got expensive.
Yeah. So the current amount is $38,955. So I'm asking the board to do that as a not to exceed. If something else comes up, I will contact the board members immediately and make you all aware if we found something else.
So you need a motion
Yes.
this time?
Mhm.
Anyway,
A motion is stated for not to exceed 30, how much
$38,955.
for the repairs.
I'll second. And that, let's be specific about where the repairs are gonna take place.
The repairs are for Capes one pump station, one pump discharge piping.
and there's no advantage to delaying this any more than it's already been delayed.
There's no advantage to delaying it unless you're planning on doing a complete rehab of all the wet well piping and the valve vault. But then you're delaying it out to to update all that, you're gonna spend over $200,000. Because what you're gonna do is replace everything with stainless. So at this point, I think we can get more value out of it and more years out of it. And I think we'll go back to facility plan, and that's when we'll go off back to that to do upgrades later.
Okay.
So what's the chance of other similar pipes in either this pump station or other pump stations developing similar problems?
The,
Probably 100% with the erosion.
well, it's 100%, yes, Jeff, if you look at the wet wells we haven't rehabbed in 20 years. But the conditions are not like this, so they still have life left in them. So they're not showing the deterioration like this one is showing. And remember, it's only really showing it on one side.
Yeah.
And it's something to do, it looks like the nuts and stuff rusted and the pipe flanges started to separate. Now, we're not gonna know the condition of those flanges until everything is taken apart and we can isolate that one side and get the elbow off. Then they can tell if it is just rust, they can clean up with a grinder. And as long as it accepts a gasket, you can put it back together. This is just an emergency fix. But if we find too much damage, we'll have to shut that one pump down and come back to the board and say, we're gonna have to get engineering in here and re-engineer this, probably the wet well itself. But I don't
Which
anticipate,
drives up the cost.
which will drive the cost. The first suggestion from engineering was to replace it all with stainless. That would have gone out to bid. We already have one project in the works that we're trying to get done with the manual transfer switches. So this, I believe, is your best option. It's your cheapest fix, and it will also last many years.
I guess my question is this a symptom of other similarly aged piping that's gonna start failing?
Yes and no. It's always a symptom. We can't see the insides of the pipe.
Right.
So we don't know
Yeah.
their true condition. I mean, they look good painted on the outside,
Yeah.
but you don't know if something's rusty from the inside out because of the harsh conditions.
Yeah.
So none of them are showing that type of wear.
Okay.
Even the one pump next to it, that piping's not showing this type of wear,
Which is the same,
which is in the same.
age.
Yeah, same age.
Yeah.
So this one has just got there faster,
Just has got, yes,
and it also had stuff on the outside that you knew it was coming, or?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the others don't, okay.
Yeah, so when we rehabbed that down there back in 2010, 11, it didn't show this kind of deterioration on that one side.
Mhm.
So in there working and adding stuff, contractors could have disturbed the pipes a little bit.
Which side are we on?
Capes one were on the inside, so it'd be pump one, is it pump? So it's pump one.
But I mean, north, east, south, or
It would be on the north side. Yeah, so if you walk down there, it's on the side closest to the building,
right,
to the generator room.
but things that you really can't, use as a determination or whatnot, but there's a lot of ground movement there that could have had something to do with it.
It could be, but they put a new lid on it, a new concrete top. So all this work was done, which could cause vibration, which could have,
Right.
but 10 plus years ago when they did this, it didn't show any of this.
Right.
So
Does one pump station or the other in the Capes operate more frequently, or?
Capes one, the one that we have to repair.
Yeah.
Capes two pump station up top pumps down to Capes one. Capes one is your one that discharges.
So it's the harder work.
It's the one that carries the load for the entire development. Yes.
Okay. So that makes sense why it's experiencing more problems than Cape two.
Yes.
In a sense.
Yeah, in a sense, and it's older than Capes two. So it was built and constructed in 1993. Capes two was constructed in 1995. This is not normal for this, We've only had one other pump station that had a problem like this and the pipes rotted through from the inside out. And that was the old Happy Camp wet well and pump setup there. Where these become more critical, which we don't have any of these pumps anymore, is when they're vacuum primed. Because if the pipe has rusted holes in it, it can't draw a vacuum and prime the pump. We've gotten rid of all that style of pumps and these all are submersible. So even if this got a bigger hole in it, what you would do is your pump would run longer because someone would be squirting back into the wet well. So it would just work harder, burn some more electricity, things like that. But you're not in the danger of a spill of an environmental, problem or anything like that. It'll all be contained where it's at.
We need to vote on that.
Motion and a second, I think.
Yeah.
We already ran through the second.
Yeah. We are in the discussion now. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor of Jeff's motion, which was to, I think, give you a ceiling to work with.
Yeah, so on the estimate, we believe is high, so not to exceed $38,955.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Once they get it done, do you guys have to do any testing on it? Or they do the testing after they throw the pipe on?
It'll be all done. When they're finished, we'll run the pumps and make sure there's no leaks. So it's all tested while they're here.
We'll pressure test it to make sure it's all sealed.
Or they drive away?
Yeah, well,
Into
before
the
they
sunset.
unhook the cranes and anything else will be hooked up. Yeah, it'll be tested before they leave. So, the treatment plant under number 3, we received the new automatic, air valves. Down the valves, we have one new one is installed on basin 1. We're operating basin 2 and 3 now, so we can't install those new ones while they're under operation. It takes about a day to change it out, but we do have the parts. If one of the valve actuators fails, we can move that basin to our other one that's ready to go, and then we can shut that one down, clean it up, and then we can upgrade the valve there. So we do have the spare parts for doing. And of course, blower 3, and last month, we're still waiting for the spare pump to come back from repair. That's due tomorrow, actually, but we're still waiting to hear from them.
But I guess I didn't understand. You're actually just running one basin, right?
We're operating 2 basins.
2. Okay, because you had said something about operating 1 because it's so dry.
We were operating 1 basin up until last week. So our loading became so high, not our flows, but our loading became so high, it was too much for 1 basin and really not enough for 2. But we were left no choice but to start at basin 2, which is the one we were going to change the air valve out. Now we're on hold until we switch basins again. Capital improvement projects. So in here, this is not I attached the email, and the email was for upsizing the generator that would also encompass use at the Netarts pump station. So we did find out we can upsize it. There is no penalty from Kohler, from the manufacturer, to cancel the one. The delta was from the manufacturer was about $55,000. And so I received this, but I actually got the change order today. Now the change order has to be sent through engineering to make sure that the change order is complete and that they included everything in the change order, nothing's missing. Components, if the contractor missed something, so it has to be verified first. But the total change order so far as it stands, until I get confirmation from the engineers that it's correct, is $136,800. And that is adding the larger generator, dropping the other one off, and then adding all of the manual transfer switch and associated parts and pieces to the Netarts pump station.
So that's the net for,
That's the net.
that's the net.
Do they give us any credit for the old generator? Do they take?
Yes.
Okay.
So we received $48,075 for the other generator that was in the original bid.
Okay.
And that offset the price for the new generator.
But just to be clear, the $100,000 is with the offset.
Yes,
That's what
yeah.
right now.
It's total, including the upsize generator.
Yeah.
And the addition of adding the manual transfer switch equipment to the Netarts pump station. So this new generator will operate, according to the engineers, will operate one set of pumps at the Netarts pump station.
What were we working with before we upgraded, before we upsized? What was the total?
What was the total of the first bid job?
We upsized because we found out that we didn't have to order separate ones before we had.
Oh, 45 kilowatts.
Yeah,
So you're looking at probably, to buy the second generator alone would have been about $145,000. Plus the 48,000 that you would have paid for this generator.
okay,
So by being able to upsize it, you basically saved over $100,000.
and even saving $100,000, this is gonna be our net.
Yes.
$150,000, all right.
So that's the change order on top of the original contract that was, I don't have it in front of me. I should have got it to give you an update, but it was a little over 100,000.
Okay,
And I looked at this, we have the money and our capital resource to cover this.
And the estimated completion date here, February 6th, 2024, that's when we would be on the other side of this whole project.
Theoretically, yes, that's the date that we received the new generator.
Oh, okay.
It's 24 weeks.
We need to make a motion for the change order.
Oh, so there's two ways you can do it. You can make a motion at this cost, and if the engineers find a mistake in the calculations on the contractor, then they'll have to redo it or add it or subtract it or something like that.
you want us to wait?
Well, so the second part to this, that the engineer wanted me to make sure, I already gave him the okay to cancel the one and order the new generator. I know the board would already want to do that just because of the amount of weeks it takes to get it. Right now, we're already looking at February, which is about the same time we would have gotten the old generator. And so we were still within that timeline for the manufacturer not to be penalized. So I went ahead and did that. But I had no idea what the manual transfer switching equipment was going to cost until they put it together. That's what came with all of this. Chances are it's probably not going to be, I mean, I pretty much think that the numbers are correct. I've gone through all of the stuff that I can. So,
So we'll move to okay this, subject to the possibility of having to.
yeah.
Okay, and amend it
Yeah,
later.
so I've got some more, whatever you're comfortable saying, I would suggest that we approve this so I can keep the engineers and contractor moving so we can get this started and get it done.
Are we approving change order?
I would do a approval of the change order
Subject to the,
subject to any final amount.
John's got some. I'm looking like you were getting ready to say something.
No, I agree,
Oh, okay.
because we're already in a proposed contracting area, and this is a change order as opposed to a totally new
Right.
proposed contract, so.
Okay, so I'd move to approve the change order, subject to having to revisit it if the engineers find something material that needs to change.
I can always update them. I mean, if it comes in cheaper, but I think that this is probably pretty accurate.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If there's none, all in favor of the proposed change order?
All right.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Okay. So the, there was one other, the topographic survey for Lower Avalon, for its pump station. The topographic survey came back. Now, Barker just got it to West Tech today, and I got it.
We didn't have that on your list of items, but you're bringing it.
I'm bringing it up because I didn't know when I was gonna receive this. So I just received it after this report was written.
Yeah.
So, they have identified 1 to 2 lots down there. I just want the board to know, they need to finalize it. I can't open AutoCAD, so I can't go in and look at everything other than a print that they sent me. But, they have identified two possibilities, lot 1 and 2, or lot 1 or lot 2, or possibly both the lots. I flagged them up here so that you would see they're at the very base, Avalon and, Grand. Glenwood, right down here, so they're at the very bottom. Both these lots are empty currently. So I know that we wanted to look at getting that nailed down so we can start the process of purchasing the property. So there is some other work they have to do, but once we get to preliminary that those are one or two of those lots are identified as what they need, because now they got to do the design of the preliminary design for layout. So that'll figure out what footage they're gonna need, what footprint they're gonna need to set this stuff.
Do we know what the lot costs are yet?
No, I had to get first lots identified.
We don't know if they're for sale either.
No, the board will have to authorize probably next month. Or at any time to start inquiring about the lots. Just so you know, there's already a lot of inquiry and excitement down there of this possibly going in. So, and realtors are already calling me and asking if I know what lot we're looking at. So I don't know how it all got out to there, but anyway, that's what.
Who owns the lots right
I
now?
have no idea. I just got notification today of which ones are the possibility. So it'll still be another couple of weeks before it's nailed down exactly which lots, but it really can't go anywhere else but right
It's
here.
kind of the bottom of the hill.
It's the
But we
bottom.
don't say that too loud.
No.
Do what, I'm sorry.
Well,
We
no,
don't say that,
there's possibilities across the street too.
good. I like to hear,
Yeah,
say
so,
that. to the-
yeah, so, yeah.
You know,
I don't like being in the.
No,
Position when we're forced.
And
Jerry, without saying it, you know whose property we'd
Yeah,
be
I'm
dealing
sure
with.
it is, yeah.
Yeah,
so I just want to give the board an update that finally came in. So we will be looking at this fiscal year of going out and, soliciting the properties. So
Hopefully it's one, not two lots.
there's still more planning to do. Like I said, it's narrowed to an area, not to an exact lot yet, because they have to do all of the planning, the draft planning for the board to look at on the footprint that's going to be required.
Okay.
Maybe they'll donate it to the district.
It's a tax write-off, right?
You don't know how funny you are right now.
I know. I kind of just picked up on, it, so a little bit of sarcasm.
This,
A little bit of sarcasm.
this property wasn't even donated. We had to buy it. So
I'm sorry.
Moving on.
This
this property right here,
Yeah.
the conditions that they wanted to donate the property were not reasonable.
Yeah.
So you start to run into a lot of, I want hookups for free. I want this for free. I want that for free. But so we are moving forward on that. So it's just kind of funny that it all came today when I've been trying to get it for months. But so I want the board to know we are moving on that. We're still trying to get the parts to repair our HVAC system. The numbers haven't really changed, other than I believe that the part that I have down here for 8,000 might be a little bit less. Once you add labor in to put it all in, I don't know what the final number is, but we're still working on that.
And just to let you know, I may have said this last month. I apologize if I've already said this, but we ended up having to cancel our HVAC order for the fire department just because it was another 2 years out. And we ended up I'll find the company name, but we ended up doing the ductless.
Mhm.
And they had that available in stock. And it was a little bit, a couple thousand less than what is being quoted, but
This is just part. It's not changing out.
It's this building.
Yeah, it's for this building.
yeah.
This is all block walls. I think a lot of the fire stations are made out of brick too.
Yeah.
But the way all of our ducting runs through the building, they would have to put that out there. There's no way for them to really come and put a unit without punching holes and coming through everything.
It seems like stuff's on back order for
Yeah.
really.
So this part is available. But Ocean Air has to either set up an account or pay with a credit card or something to get the part. So I don't know where Dan is exactly on that process.
Gotcha.
But I just talked to him a couple days ago. We had a problem with the AC here. And it just kept sucking in hot air and it wouldn't stop. So they sent out a tech. Is there any questions on that? Okay, so lastly, on the last page, I went in, I did an update on the operations summary, and they updated the things that we've worked on and have in the last year or so. So I've updated that, and I'll start putting an update, like this was August 15th. So as we make more progress on things, I'll start adding more into this operations summary. Okay,
Okay.
that was an FYI for the board.
Old business, the email from Bill Marner and Mary Fry. And you should also have attached, or it was sent out earlier today, the hold harmless agreement from our attorneys. That would go with what they're requesting.
Do we just need to make a motion to approve the hold harmless agreement?
Yeah, is that what you need?
Yes.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the hold harmless agreement?
I was back in.
Discussion.
I read it. It's about 3 times as long as I expected. Covers belts and suspenders. I didn't see any holes.
The only thing I have to do then now is just supply him the tax dot information, stuff like that. He just on there.
John, did you get a chance to look at it?
Yes.
Did you have the same reaction I did?
Yes.
I don't know what his bill is for this, because in my old line of work, we used to call this padding. But it's gonna do the job and save it in case we ever have to do it again, so we don't have to pay the lawyer to write it again. It's still in the blanks.
And the arborist, David Walker, doesn't go with these big, long contracts. You want a tree down? Okay, I'll be there tomorrow.
Well, I noticed that the hold harmless states that he's gonna be responsible for doing a lot of things, he isn't signing it. But that's somebody else's problem, that's not ours.
So. And
Get
you
him, so he's really good.
said you're gonna fill out some of the
Yeah,
other,
yeah, because he's asked for attachments
Items.
and stuff to identify the
I
lot.
think you got your approval for the text of this. Unless there.
The way I read it was that Judd Garner and Mary Flocker are responsible for Walker, whatever work he does on the property, is how I read it.
Well, I read it. that Walker's going to be doing some things. It was implicit.
Okay.
So I'm fine with that. But I certainly don't want him to revise it.
Since
For another
I sent it
$600.
all in favor of accepting the hold indemnity and hold harmless agreements, say aye.
No, they're not gonna look at this.
Excuse me?
No, I mean,
They just want to be able to call Dave and have
yeah,
the
well, I
trees.
already told them I said, because it's so far out, I said, yeah, get in line. You know, you've got your approval, we're just getting the paperwork.
Okay. Then we need folks to sign their cards. Or,
Yeah, I haven't gotten any of them returned.
That's
yet.
me.
Yeah.
so I don't,
And then
the
just.
board action is for people to fill out their cards.
And I don't know if it's a board action to approve the letter, but we did that last time that we
Did we?
approved, so, okay.
So what is it you need from us?
The last month,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We need to fill that out and get it to you.
Make a
And-
motion to accept the letter as written for the, this would be for Umpqua.
yeah, so
Yeah.
do we need to do a motion or?
Yeah,
It was ready.
second,
A second.
Okay.
all in favor, say aye.
All right.
I will sign it and then we'll attach individual cards or the sheets from last month or.
No, I haven't gotten anybody's yet.
Could we reprint those and we'll do them? Like you could hold us hostage here until we sign those or fill them out.
Well, and the bank needs the minutes too.
Right, so.
Yeah,
yeah.
I couldn't have done anything past today
I thought we
anyway.
had to sign there, the bank.
Once we get the signature card complete, then I'll let you know and you can go in and sign at the bank. This is just your information to put on the signature card.
So, and we're thinking, when you and I discussed it, that we are a secondary account holder information and not the primary, right? So it's the bottom half of the page.
Yeah, I thought I filled it out. It's fine. I'm sure I didn't.
I'm not the only one. Feel better.
Okay. Any other old business?
no, I don't.
I guess this was circulated and there was some discussion before we met in our session about Radar Road. So that would, new business, if you want to call it that, just as discussion.
Yeah, I don't think it needs a lot of discussion. It's just that this is, I mean, Elke is being proactive. She's going to be the first person of a bunch of people in that area that will start asking, what happens now when my septic fails? And they're going to find out that the standards that are in place for them to redo their septic are going to keep them from being able to do it because their lots are too small.
Yeah.
And so then they're going to come to us. And so we should begin the process, not tonight, but we should begin the process of deciding the process by which we're going to look at expansion or non-expansion, and which Dennis said probably folds into our next facility plan. Thank you. But I'm just noting, it's easy to kind of, Elke is reacting. Not everybody. It's going to get progressively more serious. People coming to us and saying, I'm going to be forced out of my house unless I have septic service or sewer service. And we're going to have to decide what our response is.
Our charge would be the $30-something thousand hookup fee. And then would we need to do anything else or no?
Oh, there's no sewer.
There's no. Oh,
You know,
not that. We got,
We're talking millions of dollars.
yeah, from our
Oh.
gate, it's only
sorry, I thought this. I thought
100,
it had already
200
been
yards north.
Not even that
No.
far.
We'll have to get buckets.
This is outside of our, this is where Elke is outside of our district service boundary. So it requires
So their lots are too small even for like an advantage system or something.
and Elke's house is somewhere close to the water treatment plant up there.
Gotcha.
And so it doesn't even go out as far as, Road. Nobody else made this request, but, usually,
My only comment was,
Well,
this probably is a good test, poke with a needle to start that long-term look at. Maybe our response is, we can't afford it, or our response is, we'll put it on the ballot. But
Well,
we need to find out what the process is.
it will be a discussion to have when we do our next facilities plan. And the date of that should be public. And that's it. There's no when, no who, no how.
What's the response to Elke?
That would be my response.
Okay, I'm just,
And when is the next
Same.
facility plan?
we need to know what we're gonna do in order to know how to respond to this.
Because if we say to one individual that, I'm gonna make it easy for you or whatever, I mean,
Precedent set.
Well, no,
then
Yeah,
you got all the
just
rest
the
of the people
opposite.
on the roads that are gonna go, what about me?
No, it's just the
but
opposite.
this is outside district boundary. So the answer is,
Right.
you reside outside of district boundary. So step one, I mean, we already have it in our facility plan as looking to the future, just like we do out Whiskey Creek. Okay, but those are outside district boundaries. I don't know the whole legal process, but I know you're gonna have to go through and get the district boundary moved. Okay, so that, I think, is a vote, that's a vote of the people.
Mhm.
So I know she's saying, please bring me sewer, but it's not that simple. I mean,
No.
for $4 million, we could get sewer to it. Okay. But that's, we talk about it as a future, but until the district service boundaries are moved, you can't even, DEQ's not even gonna let you consider it. We just have a kind of a 30,000-foot view of it, so that we're not caught, without planning.
When is the next
So
facility
recommend
plan
that he
due?
gets a composting.
I have to look at the data maps, but I like to update them every 5 to 7 years. So when we finish up some of these other projects, I would like to get those included in the new updated facility plan, along with Cougar Ridge that has come in and things like that.
So that's probably not this year, but maybe next year.
Probably, I'd like to get, like I said, they'd like to get this, so it could be this fiscal year towards the end of it, but most likely I'd ask the board, let's just budget to update the facility plan in the next fiscal year.
Okay.
But remember, you really can't look outside district boundaries to plan extensions.
Sorry, I thought this was just a hookup question. So are we going to apply to her?
Figure out a
We'll
response.
draft something for you.
We responded to her, I had you respond, and she resides outside the district. She's not really accepting that response, but it's really, you have nothing else you can say. You are outside of our service boundary. She's asking, when are you going to get it?
Yeah.
Well, you're outside of her service boundary.
And that's really the smartest thing to say right now. Like you said, don't make any suggestions of flexibility
Or go into a long
Yeah.
dissertation about it.
Yeah,
I just wanted us to have the context for the response, that's all.
and just for your information and background, Jeff, it also became a controversial point in the incorporation activities, and
Misunderstood.
the county commissioners and went round and round and round with the idea of they could get sewer service if we incorporate. I mean, it was wild for a while.
And the case was even wilder, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
There's a long process. I think that the standard answer the district tells anybody that's outside our district boundaries, that you are outside the district boundaries, we cannot give you service.
And just for morbid curiosity, where is her house at? She's way
By
out.
the water district.
Right by the water plant, just, what is that, about a mile and a half up the road? Okay.
If we're going towards Cape Mears.
Yeah.
There's that one house that looks like it's a fortress.
Mhm.
That road, that gravel road, it goes right up the hill. She's one of 2 or 3 houses at the top of that road.
Gotcha.
Perched.
Above the grotto.
And that's just
Yeah.
before it goes downhill with the big dip.
That's before the big dip and before you get to Radar Road.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before you get to now you get down to the beach there.
So if it's okay, I would just help Tracy just come up to just explain that it's outside the district service boundary.
And this is besides this discussion, okay, but I was an officer in a nonprofit where we were given yurts down in Newport. And it was kind of the same kind of deal where to take ownership, we had to make sure the sewer was okay. And there wasn't enough room. So we researched it out, and there are some high-end units that you can darn near drink the water afterwards, but it's not cheap. And we put that system in, and we're able to sell the property. It was a gift to the nonprofit. So I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. with, you know, her landlines or whatnot, but
She is among the last people I would give any technical advice to.
right,
She needs to have a direct relationship with the people that she's gonna pay. And
right.
she will complicate a situation if you say anything that she can misunderstand.
That's why I said, we're just gonna tell her it's
Okay.
outside our
I don't
district.
think you disagree with that. I say that with love, by the way. I mean, she is a friend. We
No,
sit her and have wine with her, but I just know her well enough that we just keep
Use the
ambiguities
bathroom.
to the.
Oh, yeah, okay.
On the what?
On the meeting here.
We're moving forward. Any other new business? Okay, in correspondence, we have the letter from the Oregon Audits Division with a filing fee increase. Is there any comment to that?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I see.
Oh, nothing?
We're just shocked that the government would increase their fees.
Do we need to next month reiterate, board members taking a, online seminar or whatever towards the, in getting the insurance discount? I know I've been bad. I haven't done it. But
Well, we understood there were gonna be some more stuff online, so we were gonna get a list or a place to look. That's what she was gonna do for us, but it was there was a conference coming up that might include stuff we could look, so we waited.
Oh, that's right.
I have been.
okay,
I did talk to SDAO and they did tell me that a lot of them, they're going to, like you could either choose to go and be in person or they will put them where, you know, for a cheaper price, you can just log in as a webinar too. So I don't know which ones they've done that with.
The
but-
ones we did last year were free because we were members.
Right.
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's the ones we should choose. You guys might need to go to some pay stuff, but we don't.
Okay, is there any other discussion? If not, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
6:37.
Second.
We're adjourned.
Would you mind printing those things so
Yeah.
that we can